So if we look back, and then now what I focus on is just the evidence. I don't really care about opinion or the speculation and conjecture that the prosecution throws around. So, this happened in December 2017, and then it wasn't until the fall of 2018, for whatever reasons. There's lots of speculation, but basically, for whatever reason, I'm not going to go into all those details. If you're watching this, you're probably aware of the details. CMS, or whatever, got called in, and on their uh, November 2nd, 2018, 12:35 p.m., made some observations made in conference 167. Now, why the syringes and the vial were kept in the same bag for a year, I don't know. It's interesting. So obviously, risk management thought it was important. Okay, that's fine. I'm not trying to cast any nefarious intentions on them, but they didn't obviously consider it as evidence in a crime, and they didn't, and consistently they didn't, and they've said that publicly. I'm not putting words in their mouth. They testified during the trial, like and Jeff Balzer has made a public announcement that he doesn't think that this medical error shouldn't have been criminalized. So I'm not trying to make them sound nefarious, but my point is the bag and the contents were not handled carefully. That Gail Lanigan, who is, I think she's a Department of Health investigator. I don't think she's for TBI. Her fingerprints were on one of the syringes. Oh well, I don't. That doesn't indicate to me any kind of malevolence or nefarious intervention. I'm not suggesting that, but on at least to the person, I forget who filled this out. Maybe I don't know if it was Gail Lanigan. I think the CMS investigator was different. Anyway, there was one 10 ml syringe labeled normal saline with a capped needle attached. So a capped needle attached, that matters. The syringe had 8 ml of a clear liquid remaining in it. Okay, 8 mLs. So remember that. That's important. This is in November 2018, 1 year after the incident. There was one 10 ml syringe, and then down here labeled normal saline with 1.5 mLs of a clear liquid remaining in it, and capped with a white cap with no needle, and then alcohol preps and the nearly empty bottle of reconstituted vecuronium. So this syringe had 8 mils of a clear liquid remaining in it. The prosecution know this. Prosecution read. I mean, they should have read this, or not. I mean, it doesn't tell the story they want. So why would they care about it? And that's why they're incompetent, in my opinion. They weren't concerned with the truth. So also in this, I want to point out that the 2 radiology techs were interviewed. And I forget, I mean, you can kind of figure out they're like RRT1 and RRT2. You can figure out, when in the testimony, you can figure out which one's 1 and which one's 2, because based on where they were, I was very impressed with their testimony and their composure on the stand. It was very, very impressive. But the one radiology tech who said, I saw her, I'm not quoting here, I'm kind of paraphrasing, and the prosecution mentions this in their final closing statements, push a half to a third, or a third to a half of the contents of the syringe into the patient. Okay, so that was mentioned during the trial just here, in March 2022, 4.5 years after the incident. I don't know when, and the defense mentioned this, but I don't think forcefully enough. That's not mentioned at all. I mean, that's a very important observation. That's not mentioned at all in this CMS report. I mean, I can go through and show you. I mean, you can go read. It's not there. I can't show you what's not there. I mean, we can go through and read every line and say, oh, it's not there, but it's just not there. So maybe I missed it, but I read through the whole thing. I didn't see it. So that's suspicious to me. Again, I'm not accusing her of malicious intent. I don't think she doesn't seem at all like a malicious person. The nuclear med technician, or I'm not sure the actual title, But I don't. I mean, she doesn't seem like a malicious person at all. Okay, well, that's true, but I think people overestimate what their memory actually is, and I'll get to that a little later.